The Galactic Alliance's war room hummed with the static of dying hope. Holographic star maps flickered above the central table, their crimson projections bleeding across the Milky Way like wounds. The Kralthar Empire's conquests glowed, menacingly. Systems snuffed out, civilizations erased. Around the table sat the galaxy's last defenders. A Zorvian diplomat, scales dull with stress. A Vraxian warlord, 4 arms folded in resignation. A Luminos scholar, bioluminescent skin dimmed to a mournful blue. And Commander Sarah Mitchell, the lone human, whose iron posture and piercing hazel eyes dared the room to defy her. The Cygnus belt has fallen, the Zorvian hissed, his forked tongue lashing the air. The Kralthar breach our final defenses. We must act. The Vraxian slammed a fist, rattling the holograms. Act? With what? Our fleets are ash. The Kralthar fear nothing. Not death, not defeat. They are unstoppable. No one's unstoppable. Mitchell cut in, her voice crisp as a rifle report. She rose, her navy uniform stark against the alien opulence, and summoned a new hologram. Earth, swirling in defiant blue and green. You've overlooked humanity. We're not as advanced, as polished as your species, but we've survived extinction-level tantrums from our own planet. Give us a shot, and we'll show you how to make the Kralthar sweat. The Luminos pulsed skeptically. Your kind still uses combustion engines. What could you possibly? Improvisation, Mitchell said, a wolfish grin breaking through her stoicism. You stick to the manual. We burn the manual. 2 days later, Mitchell stood in the Alliance flagship's hangar, arms crossed, as her team disembarked. First off the shuttle was Lieutenant Jake Ace Ramirez, a Navy SEAL whose reputation for chaos preceded him. He swaggered into the bay, duffel slung over his shoulder, smirk already in place. So, this is the Save the Galaxy party? Kinda underwhelming. Where's the open bar? Mitchell didn't blink. Stow the comedy, Ramirez. We're here to work. Relax, Commander, he said, tossing her a mock salute. I'll charm the aliens and save their asses. Multitasking's my specialty. Next came Dr. Emily Chen, lugging a toolbox twice her size. Her black ponytail swung as she craned her neck to gawk at the hangar's alien tech. Fascinating, she muttered, prying open a panel on the nearest shuttle. They're plasma. Conduits use quantum lattice cooling. We're stuck with liquid nitrogen like cavemen. Mitchell cleared her throat. Doctor, we need you adapting their tech, not drooling over it. Chen pushed her glasses up, eyes gleaming. Give me 6 hours and a soldering iron. I'll turn their toys into our nukes. The last was Corporal Marcus Dreamer Taylor, a wiry kid clutching a sketchpad crammed with spaceship doodles. He gaped at the hangar's scale, whispering, "Holy crap, we're actually in space, with aliens." Mitchell arched a tall brow. Focus, Taylor. This isn't a field trip. Right, sorry. He flushed, flipping to a page of tactical diagrams. But, they're shield harmonics. I think there's a resonance flaw we could exploit. Maybe. Mitchell's stern facade cracked. Not bad, kid. Save the genius for the briefing. In the stark light of the strategy room, Mitchell stabbed a hologram of Zalthor, a Kralthar moonbase bristling with defenses. This is where they're hiding their next target list. We crack it. We outmaneuver them. Fail, and Earth's on the menu. Ramirez leaned back, boots on the table. So, break into a death fortress, steal their diary, and ghost out before they notice. Got it. It's not a game, Mitchell snapped. The base has energy shields, drone swarms, and enough firepower to glass a continent. One slip, and we're space station confetti. Chen flicked through schematics on her tablet. Shield frequencies adjustable. If I tweak our shuttle's emitter to mimic their signature, we'll slip through. Drones? Pulse a localized EMP. Fry their circuits. Buy us 10 minutes. Taylor raised a tentative hand. Their patrol routes repeat every 18 minutes. If we sync our move to their blind spot cycle. He trailed off, suddenly self-conscious. Mitchell nodded. Smart. Ramirez, your point. Chen, handle tech. Taylor, stick with me. Questions? Ramirez grinned. What's the plan B when this goes full dumpster fire? Improvise, Mitchell said, but try not to blow up the moon. The infiltration was a ballet of controlled chaos. Chen's shuttle modifications bypassed the shields, and her EMP blast dropped the drones like puppets with cut strings. The team crept through the base's obsidian corridors, Ramirez leading with predatory grace, Mitchell's pistol steady at her side. They reached the data core, a pulsating crystal, spire, and Chen jacked in her device. Downloading 30 seconds. Then the alarm screamed. Red lights bathed the room as boots thundered outside. Ramirez drew his sidearm. Told you Plan A was too easy. Mitchell barked into her comm. Taylor, exit route. Now. Maintenance shaft. Left corridor. Go. Taylor's voice crackled. They sprinted, Ramirez picking off drones with lethal precision. Chen hugged the data core like a lifeline. Mitchell's mind raced. 12 rounds left. Hallway narrow. Zorvian intel said nothing about backup turrets. They burst onto the moon's surface, the shuttle a silhouette against the star-strewn black. Then the ground shook. General Zorax loomed ahead, armored in jagged black plate, his voice a tectonic rumble. Pathetic. You think your primate tricks impress the Kralthar? Mitchell aimed her pistol. We're just getting started. Zorax laughed. Your world will burn first. A lesson in humility. Ramirez hurled a smoke grenade. Lesson. This ugly. The team lunged for the shuttle as Zorax's roar shook the dust. Mitchell fired covering shots, her jaw clenched. They lifted off, the moon shrinking below. Zorax's silhouette seething in the haze. Ramirez flopped into a seat, grinning. Solid first date. What's next? Mitchell stared at the data core's glow. Next, we hit them where it hurts. Hard. As the shuttle vaulted into hyperspace, Taylor whispered, They're coming for Earth, aren't they? Mitchell didn't look away from the stars. Let them. We'll be ready. Once is all we get. Mitchell turned to Marcus Dreamer Taylor, who was scribbling equations on a whiteboard, his hair wilder than usual. Taylor, find me a pattern in their formation. He tapped the board frantically. They're using a fractal flanking strategy, same one they used at Cygnus. But look. He circled a cluster of ships. They're command vessels shielded by a rotating debris field. If we hit the debris at this frequency, it'll destabilize the shield long enough for a strike. Mitchell finished. Ramirez, you getting this? Lieutenant Jake, Ace Ramirez, leaned against the doorway, chewing a toothpick, his armor scuffed from drills. Yep. Sneak past the space crabs, blow up their mommy ship. Easy. Easy? Chen crawled out from the console, grease smeared across her cheek. Their plasma cannons will vaporize anything that gets within 1,000 clicks, even your ego. Ramirez smirked. Good thing I'm bulletproof, Doc. Mitchell ignored the banter. Ramirez takes a squad in the modified stealth shuttle. Chen's EMP tech masks your approach. Taylor's frequency hack opens a window. You plant charges on the command ship's core and run. No heroics. Heroics are my brand, Commander. Ramirez tossed the toothpick aside. But fine. I'll stick to the script. The Kralthar fleet descended with glacial inevitability. Earth's defense satellites flickered online, their beams lancing out in neon streaks. 3 warships ruptured in silent explosions, but the rest advanced, undeterred. They're adapting, Taylor yelled, tracking the data. Shifting formation every 90 seconds. Our targeting can't keep up. Mitchell gripped the edge of the holotable. On Chen, reroute power to the eastern grid. By Ramirez time, Chen's fingers flew across the controls. Overloading Satellite 12. Now! A satellite detonated in a deliberate supernova of light, scattering the Kralthar vanguard. Ramirez's shuttle, cloaked in Chen's jury-rigged stealth field, slipped through the chaos. "Stay sharp," Ramirez muttered to his squad. 8 Marines crammed into the shuddering hull. This ride's held together by duct tape and Chen's prayers. Inside the bunker, Taylor's screen flashed. Command ship's debris field is rotating faster. Frequency shift in 20 seconds. Ramirez, you've got a window. Copy that, Einstein. Ramirez punched the thrusters. The shuttle banked sharply, dodging a tendril of molten debris. Planting charges in 3, 2. A Kralthar patrol drone materialized off their bow. "Move!" Mitchell barked. Ramirez fired the shuttle's improvised plasma saw, slicing the drone in half. "Chen, remind me to kiss you later." "Focus, you maniac!" Chen snapped, though her lips twitched. The shuttle docked with a magnetic thunk. Ramirez's squad flooded into the command ship's sterile obsidian corridors, their boots echoing like gunshots. "Charges set!" A Marine yelled. "Fall back!" Ramirez ordered. "We're on borrowed." The floor shuddered. A Kralthar warrior, 7 feet tall and bristling with serrated blades, rounded the corner. Ramirez emptied his clip into its chest. It kept coming. "Well, that's rude," he muttered, grabbing a plasma grenade from his belt. "Eat hot lead, sushi face." The explosion rocked the corridor. Ramirez's comms fizzed. "Ramirez! Status!" Mitchell's voice was steel, wrapped in silk. "Party's over." Lighting the candles. He triggered the detonator. "Well, that's rude," he muttered, grabbing a plasma grenade from his belt. "Eat hot lead, sushi face." The explosion rocked the corridor. Ramirez's comms fizzed. "Ramirez! Status!" Mitchell's voice was steel wrapped in silk. "Party's over." Lighting the candles. He triggered the detonator. On Earth, the hologram flared as the Kralthar command ship erupted, its debris cascading into the fleet. Cheers erupted in the bunker. Mitchell didn't smile. "Chen, satellite status." 3 left. They're swarming the west coast. "Commander." Taylor pointed at the feed. A Kralthar dropship, scarred but intact, broke through the atmosphere. "They're heading for Los Angeles." Ramirez's shuttle streaked into view on the hologram, trailing smoke. "On it, boss. Let's mop up." Mitchell's knuckles whitened. "Negative. Your shuttle's falling apart. Return to base. And let LA become an alien parking lot." Ramirez chuckled. "Come on, Commander. You know I'm allergic to retreat." The shuttle dove into the dropship's wake, Ramirez's voice crackling through the comms. "Hey, Taylor, how's the weather down there?" Taylor blinked at the radar. Clear skies." "Perfect." Ramirez opened fire. The dropship spiraled into the Pacific, but not before disgorging a dozen Kralthar warriors onto Santa Monica's ruins. Ramirez landed the shuttle on the beach, its engines sputtering death rattles. "Well," he said, stepping onto the sand. "Looks like we're doing this the fun way." Mitchell watched the live feed, her pulse steady, but her mind a storm. Ramirez's squad fought like feral cats, outnumbered and outgunned, using abandoned cars and shattered buildings for cover. A Marine fell, then another. "Chen, get me eyes on Ramirez. Now," Mitchell ordered. Chen hacked a surveillance drone, its feed revealing Ramirez pinned behind a crumbling wall, his armor cracked, blood streaking his jaw. A Kralthar warrior raised its blade. Thwip. A sniper round punched through the alien's skull, on a nearby rooftop. Marcus Taylor lowered his rifle, his hands shaking. "You?" Ramirez barked, incredulous. What part of stay in the bunker confused? "You." Taylor reloaded, grinning weakly. You needed a better angle." Mitchell's voice cut in. Both of you, fall back to the evac zone. Now. They ran, Kralthar hunters at their heels. Ramirez lobbed his last grenade. Taylor's rifle clicked empty. Then, the ground trembled. A modified garbage truck plowed through the street. Chen at the wheel, her glasses askew. "Get in!" she screamed. Ramirez burst out laughing. "Doc, you're my favorite mad scientist." The truck peeled away, Kralthar plasma blasts melting asphalt behind them. Back in the bunker, Mitchell exhaled as the hologram stabilized. The Kralthar fleet, leaderless and battered, retreated into the void. "Temporary victory," she said, turning to her team. Ramirez bleeding but grinning, Chen fixing her singed ponytail, Taylor clutching his rifle like a security blanket. "They'll regroup, stronger." Ramirez saluted with his non-bloody arm. "Then we'll blow 'em up stronger too." Chen collapsed into a chair. "After I nap for a decade." Taylor stared at the hologram, his voice small. "They'll come back for Earth, won't they?" Mitchell studied the stars, her reflection sharp in the glass. "Yes, but now they know something." "What's that?" Taylor asked. She smiled. "A razor's edge. We don't need their tech. We've got something worse." Ramirez raised a brow. "What?" "You," Mitchell said. "All of you." The screen flickered. A message flashed. Encrypted. Urgent. Mitchell opened it. A hologram of General Zorax materialized, his voice a venomous growl. "You fight well, for insects, but you've only met our scouts. The true Kralthar Armada arrives soon. Prepare your epitaphs." Dr. Emily Chen crouched over a gutted control panel, her fingers dancing across alien circuitry. "It's powered by a linked black hole array. Disrupt the containment field, and the entire thing collapses into itself. But we'd need to plant charges inside the core chamber." Lieutenant Jake Ace Ramirez leaned against the bulkhead, cleaning his knife. "So we're boarding the galaxy's biggest grenade. Cool. What's the catch?" "The core's guarded by a quantum lock," Chen said. "Only opens to a Kralthar commander's biometrics. Like, say, General Zorax." Marcus Dreamer, Taylor, looked up from his sketchpad, where he'd drawn a crude diagram of Worldbreaker. "We'd need to lure him there. But how?" Mitchell's smile was all teeth. "We give him bait he can't refuse." And the plan was insanity, even by human standards. 2 hours later, the Vindication streaked toward Worldbreaker, broadcasting a looped message on all frequencies. "Attention, Kralthar scum. This is Lieutenant Jake Ramirez. I'm here to finish what I started. Come get some." Ramirez stood shirtless in the ship's cargo hold, flexing for a surveillance drone. "How's this look? Intimidating enough?" Chen tossed him a stolen Kralthar uniform. "Put that on before I vomit." "Jealousy's ugly, Doc." He winked, then froze as Mitchell entered. She tossed him a plasma pistol. "Zorax took the bait, his shuttle's en route. Taylor, status." Taylor pointed to a hologram of Worldbreaker's interior. "The core chamber's here. If we trap Zorax inside, Chen can lock the doors and trigger the charges. But," he swallowed, "the timers give us 6 minutes to escape before detonation." Mitchell nodded. "Plenty of time." Ramirez snorted. "Says the woman who's not sprinting through a death trap." Zorax arrived with a battalion of warriors, their armored boots clanging through the Vindication's halls. Ramirez waited in the hangar, leaning against a fighter craft, chewing a toothpick. "Took you long enough, Z." The general's voice boomed through his helmet. "You dare mock the Kralthar? You are nothing." Yeah. "Fear my wrath, blah blah." Ramirez flicked the toothpick away. "But here's the thing. I'm not here to fight." He tapped his wrist comm. "Mitchell, do it." The ship's artificial gravity flipped. Kralthar warriors slammed into the ceiling as Ramirez leapt into the fighter, Chen's voice guiding him through the comms. "Left corridor. Go." The fighter shot into Worldbreaker's docking bay, Ramirez whooping as Zorax's roars echoed behind him. "That's right, big guy. Keep up." Mitchell and Taylor sprinted through Worldbreaker's labyrinthine halls, dodging patrols. "Left here," Taylor panted, consulting his sketchpad. "The core's ahead." They slid into the chamber, a cathedral of twisted metal encircling a pulsing singularity. Chen's voice crackled over the comms. "Sealing doors. Now!" Blast shields slammed shut, trapping Zorax inside with Mitchell and Taylor. The general laughed, drawing a serrated greatsword. "You think this cage frightens me? I will carve your corpse into confetti." Mitchell raised her pistol. "Taylor, the charges." The boys scrambled to plant explosives, hands shaking. Zorax lunged. Mitchell fired, a glancing shot off his armor. "Run!" she barked, ducking the general's swing. Taylor sprinted for the exit, Mitchell covering him, her shots pinging uselessly off Zorax's plating. The general cornered her, blade raised. "You die first, human." A plasma grenade rolled between his feet. "Nah," Ramirez said, leaning in the doorway. "She's got plans." The explosion hurled Zorax into the Singularity's containment field. Mitchell grabbed Ramirez's outstretched hand as the chamber shuddered. "Timer's set! Go!" They raced through collapsing halls, Zorax's roars shaking the walls. Chen's voice screamed through the comms. 3 minutes left! Move! Taylor tripped, his ankle twisting. Ramirez slung him over one shoulder. "Dreamer, you're buying me beers after this." "Do I get a vote?" Taylor wheezed. Mitchell fired behind them, picking off pursuers. "Left, docking, bay!" The Vindication loomed ahead, engines flaring. Chen stood at the ramp, waving frantically. "Hurry!" They vaulted aboard as Worldbreaker's core imploded, the shockwave catapulting the frigate into hyperspace. On the bridge, Ramirez collapsed into a chair, bleeding from a dozen cuts. "Remind me never to do that again." Chen bandaged Taylor's ankle, her hands steady. "You were decent. For a rookie." Mitchell studied the hologram. Worldbreaker's remained swirling into a newborn nebula. "Zorax!" "Gone," Chen said. "Reduced to atoms." Taylor frowned. "But the Kralthar Empire's still out there." Mitchell's comms pinged. A message flashed. An alliance-wide transmission. A Kralthar fleet, vaster than any before, materialized on the edge of the galaxy. At its helm, a ship shaped like a skeletal hand, its commander's voice a hollow rasp. "You eradicated a fool. Now face the true Kralthar sovereign. Your extinction will be poetic." Ramirez grinned. "Poetic? Buddy, you're talking to the wrong species." Mitchell powered up the weapons array. "Chen, how long to retrofit this frigate for combat?" "A week. Maybe 2. You've got 6 hours." Taylor groaned. Ramirez cracked his knuckles. Chen muttered equations under her breath. Dr. Emily Chen hunched over a console, her fingers flying across alien keys. "I've hacked their comms. The Sovereign's fleet is converging on Earth. We've got 12 hours before they're in range." Marcus Dreamer, Taylor, adjusted his glasses, his sketchpad filled with frantic calculations. "Their flagship's shield matrix is impenetrable, but if we disrupt their quantum link to the fleet, we can blind them." Mitchell finished. "Ramirez, thoughts?" Lieutenant Jake Ace, Ramirez, leaned against the bulkhead, cleaning his knife. "I've got a plan, but you're not gonna like it." Mitchell's eyes narrowed. "Try me." The plan was simple. Insane, but simple. Ramirez would pilot a stolen Kralthar fighter into the Eclipse's hangar, posing as a defector. Once inside, he'd plant a virus Chen had cobbled together from alien code and human ingenuity. The virus would sever the Sovereign's control over the fleet, leaving them vulnerable. "One problem," Chen said, holding up a data chip. This virus needs to be uploaded directly into the flagship's core, which means Ramirez has to get inside their command center. And the core is guarded by a biometric lock, Taylor added. Only the Sovereign can open it. Ramirez grinned. So I'll bring the Sovereign to the party. Mitchell's voice was ice. This is a one-way mission. Yeah, Ramirez shrugged. But if it saves Earth, I'll call it a fair trade. The fighter streaked toward the Eclipse, Ramirez's voice crackling over the comms. Approaching hangar. Let's see if they buy this. The Kralthar hailed him. Identify yourself. Lieutenant Jake Ramirez, he said, injecting just enough swagger into his tone. Defecting to the winning side. Got a gift for your boss. A pause. Then, proceed. The hangar doors yawned open. Ramirez landed the fighter, his heart pounding as Kralthar warriors surrounded him. He stepped out, hands raised, the virus chip hidden in his boot. Take me to the Sovereign, he said. I've got intel that'll make your conquest a cakewalk. On the Vindication, Mitchell paced the bridge. Chen, can you track him? Chen's screen flickered with a map of the Eclipse. He's moving toward the command center, but the Sovereign's guards are everywhere. Taylor chewed his lip. What if they don't believe him? They will, Mitchell said. Ramirez has a way with words. Ramirez stood before the Sovereign, a towering figure encased in obsidian armor, their voice a bone-rattling growl. You dare offer me intel, human? Yeah. Ramirez smirked. See, we've got this thing called strategy. You might have heard of it. The Sovereign's guards bristled, but Ramirez held up a hand. Relax. I'm here to help. But first, I need to show you something. In your core chamber. The Sovereign leaned forward, their helmet's visor glowing like molten lava. Why should I trust you? Because, Ramirez said, pulling the virus chip from his boot. I'm holding the key to your victory. The Sovereign's laughter shook the room. You amuse me, human. Very well. Let us see this. Key. In the core chamber, Ramirez inserted the chip into a terminal. The Sovereign loomed behind him, their breath hot on his neck. Activate it. Gladly. Ramirez tapped the screen. The terminal flared to life, the virus spreading through the eclipsed systems. Alarms blared. The Sovereign roared. What have you done? Ramirez spun, his knife flashing. Leveled the playing field. The blade glanced off the Sovereign's armor. Guards surged forward. Ramirez fought like a cornered animal, his movements a blur of desperation and defiance. On the Vindication, Chen's screen lit up. The virus is in. Their fleet's going dark. Mitchell gripped the console. Ramirez, get out of there. His voice crackled through the comms, ragged but defiant. No can do, boss. But, hey, tell Taylor to name a star after me. The transmission cut. The Eclipse's core erupted in a cascade of light, the shockwave rippling through the fleet. The Vindication's crew watched in stunned silence as the flagship disintegrated, its fragments scattering like embers. Taylor wiped his eyes. He did it. Chen's voice was soft. Yeah, he did. Mitchell stared at the hologram. Her reflection fractured in the glass. Set course for Earth. We've got a war to finish. The Kralthar fleet, leaderless and disoriented, retreated into the void. Humanity's battered forces regrouped, their spirits buoyed by the victory. But on the Vindication's bridge, the mood was somber. Taylor sketched a star, labeling it Ramirez's Folly. Chen reprogrammed the ship's systems, her hands steady, but her eyes distant. Mitchell stood at the viewport, her gaze fixed on the stars. He knew the cost, she said, her voice low. And he paid it. That's what we do. That's who we are. Chen looked up. What now? Mitchell turned, her eyes blazing. Now we make sure his sacrifice wasn't in vain. The Kralthar will regroup. And when they do, we'll be ready. The crew exchanged grim nods. Somewhere in the dark, The remnants of the Kralthar Empire stirred. But for now, Earth was safe. And humanity had proven one thing. Even against the galaxy's most ruthless warlords, they were a force to be reckoned with.